This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site, and today we're speaking with Dr. Tom D'Alfonso. He is the Worldwide Director of Animal Nutrition at the U.S. Soybean Export Council. Thanks for being with us today, Tom.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to our conversation.
Me too. I'm excited about this. Poultry operations are pushing to deliver exceptional growth rates and feed conversion, but Tom, how does feed's country of origin impact the consistency of soybean meal and in turn on farm performance?
That's a great question. Let's go all the way back to the origin of soybeans, for example. Uh, U.S. soy is superior in its nutrient composition, its consistency, its digestibility, and its sustainability, and these things all work together. Let's start with sustainability and work backwards. It is the sustainable farming practices of the U.S. soy farmer that lead to these quality characteristics. U.S. soy is produced by family farms. More than 95% of all soybeans are raised on farms that are family owned and have been so for multiple generations. They're taking care of the land. They're familiar with the land. In fact, soy farmers were some of the first to use sophisticated technology like global positioning satellites and to precisely apply only what's needed to the field and to the crop. And what this does is it not only reduces the inputs to the crop, which is reducing waste, it also makes the field more uniform and the crop more uniform. And that's true from one part of the field to the next and from one season to the next. So it's these practices of sustainability that contribute to the consistency of the nutrient composition. The other is our supply chain. And it starts by the fact that soybeans grown in the United States do not require mechanical drying. They dry naturally in the field. And so because of that, there's no very, very, very uncommon to have heat damage that we see very frequently in beans coming from tropical origins, such as Brazil.
Right, right.
Those beans are harvested very moist. Moisture is a source of variability. Moisture dilutes every single nutrient in the bean. And so, in order to dry the beans, typically what's done are mechanical dryers are fed with logs from eucalyptus trees that are
Hmm.
burned, and there's been several research studies showing that this mechanical drying is inefficient. Some beans are still wet, some beans are heat damaged. And so that heat damage also affects the nutrient digestibility. So one way to decrease digestibility is to water it down. The other is to burn it, is to
Hmm.
heat it too much and to damage those nutrients. So soy soybean meal is such an important ingredient in animal diets, particularly poultry. It's providing essential amino acids and metabolizable energy, and you're counting on those nutrients to get the birds to grow to their genetic potential and to convert that feed most efficiently into animal protein.
Hmm.
And so the whole story from the way the beans are raised in a sustainable manner by U.S. soy farmers to the way that the beans are handled, transported, when they get to the animals, when they get to the feed mill, they are much more consistent, and you can rely on those nutrients that you formulated your diets on when you choose U.S. soy as your preference.
Tom, research shows that U.S. soy delivers 93.8% lysine digestibility and 2,400 kilocalories per kilogram metabolizable energy. How do these values compare with Brazilian or Argentine meal in real world feeding programs? You were just talking about kind of some of the differences that you see with moisture. What about some of these other areas?
Let me address the metabolizable energy number first. So we've been tracking the quality of soybeans and meal from different origins and to different destinations for more than 10 years, and we've been seeing a number of important trends. The first is, as you described, the high levels of digestible essential amino acids and the high level of metabolizable energy. When it comes to metabolizable energy, the first thing that researchers have seen is that soybean meal in general is providing a lot more calories than we've been formulating for the last couple of decades. In fact, regardless of the energy system you use, it could be digestible energy, net energy, apparent metabolizable energy with a nitrogen
Right.
correction or not. All these different systems of energy may create confusion, but here's something to remember. High quality soybean meal made from U.S. soy provides as much calories per unit as corn.
Huh.
And that and it's these factors that affect digestibility include not just higher quality soy, but the animal's genetics are better able to convert nutrients into energy. And so if we want the animals to perform at their genetic potential, we have to feed them the right fuel. That's the way I like thinking of it.
Right.
And so those numbers that you mentioned, metabolizable energy, because of variability, because of lower digestibility, if you're using soybean meal from other origins, you should really discount, use a safety margin in your feed formulas because of the variability and because of the lower digestibility. And that can impact around 100 kilocalories per kilogram or 50
Oh,
kilocalories per pound, give or take. And so you're not going to get the potential that you could get out of those nutrients. As far as digestible amino acids, the very important essential amino acids are in the soybean meal. Again, you would expect there to be 3% total lysine, maybe 2.7% digestible lysine. Um,
right.
uh, but when you have variability from batch to batch and season to season, like we see in from soybean meal made from other origins, you can't rely on that number. You have to discount it.
Right.
I would discount the digestibility of essential amino acids by a couple percentage points. So whereas U.S. soy might be 93 to 95% digestible, we're talking about 87, 89, 90% digestible. And those few percentage points in digestibility really add up. When we count the differences in the digestible essential amino acids, the metabolizable energy, and the consistency, we see that U.S. soy is easily worth $25 per metric ton more than soybean meal made from soy of other origins. And that's
Significant.
just in feeds cost savings. That's not talking about
Right.
animal performance.
That's significant, Tom. That's really significant.
It really is. It really affects the bottom line. Feed is the greatest cost in animal production, and using the right nutrients to get those animals to perform to their genetic potential is really the name of the game.
Right. And especially in poultry, it feels like they are working to the thousandth of a penny, right? Like on some of these diets, and that's a significant amount. So we'll move on from there. Tom, commercial trials show broilers fed soybean meal derived from U.S. soy diets grow 4.2% faster with 3% better feed conversion rate. What's driving those improvements?
Right. So again, I like thinking of that in the reverse. The highest quality soybean meal made around the world comes from U.S. soybeans as the origin. Regardless of where the soy is crushed, it's the important thing is to start with soybeans coming from the United States. Then those nutrients that we're counting on in the diet enable the animal to reach its genetic potential. So from there, you can only come down.
Right.
And so the fastest rate of growth that you can see, the highest feed efficiency or the lowest feed conversion that you would see comes when the animal is performing at its genetic potential. And when there's low digestibility, when there is variance in nutrient composition, the animal cannot meet its genetic potential. And so performance comes down from there. So one way to think of it is how do you expect the animals to perform? What is the genetic potential? Feeding a well-balanced diet with U.S. based soybean meal as the foundation of the diet will get those animals to perform at the highest level. It can only come
Right.
down from there with poor quality.
Hmm. Very good. Consistency is a recurring theme. How does the reliability of U.S. soy's nutrient composition help producers achieve predictable performance and profitability across flocks and houses.
Right. So when you're planning the feeding program for an animal, you're making certain assumptions. You're assuming they're going to be growing at a certain rate, that they're going to be a certain body weight when you change from one diet to the next, that they're going to be consuming a certain amount of
Right.
feed. And all of that is reliant upon the nutrients being in the diet that you expect. So
Mm-hmm.
that's first. And so variability plays a couple of different roles. I actually did a study um, for my dissertation looking at the variability of nutrient composition on animal performance and poultry performance. And that variability itself caused higher feed consumption. And the reason is if an animal gets more, let's say, calories one day than it needs, it just converts it to fat. If it has lower calories than are needed, it eats more.
Got
So
it.
the net effect of variability is the animal requiring more feed consumption to compensate for that
Huh.
variability.
Right.
So this is a consistency is of the nutrient composition is very important in planning and in the actual operations. And again, getting those animals to their genetic potential, you need a consistent ingredient. It's like having consistent high quality fuel in your high
Right.
performing automobile. If it's watered down, it's gonna sputter.
Right.
So if not fail. So that's the analogy I like to use when talking about having consistently high digestible essential amino acids and metabolizable energy in animal diets.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Tom, so much for all the information today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, this has been a wonderful conversation. I enjoy this topic very much. Thank you, Sarah, for having me on this program.
Very good. This information is partially funded by the U.S. Soy Checkoff. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.